Welcome, Pierre. So lovely to see you. So congratulations on becoming VP of Business Development at Tierion. Really pleased to hear that.
Yeah.
And I know you've put a lot of effort into this ecosystem and helped a lot of people. So it's great to see, you finding a star role. And I was wondering how much Tierion raised in their ICO. I know Wayne did tell me.
Yeah. We raised about $25 million, and we had capped it, so it was really the amount we were looking for.
Okay.
And it was a very smooth ICO as far as all of the processes that need to be put into place. We didn't have any kind of disaster, any thefts, which have been happening a lot.
Yes.
So we were very fortunate.
Right. And I know Wayne said to me that Tierion's one of the only companies that's actually delivering for the tokens. So can you tell me about that?
Yeah, absolutely. We set a goal when we did when we were preparing or thinking through the process of ICO, that the only way it made sense is if we had something that was actually useful. And so our goal was that immediately following the ICO, we would actually have a deliverable product so that the tokens would be immediately useful. And we met that goal. And that was really exciting because in this space today, I'd say over 99% of the projects are still maybe 6 months to a year out from delivering on the actual utility they claim to have. We were able to do it immediately, and that was really exciting.
And I know I've keep reading about certain big ICOs failing for different companies. What does that mean when an ICO fails?
Generally, it's a missed expectations. It's a mismatch of expectations. So you have companies that have set a certain threshold that they're looking to raise. And there was recently one in the GPU rendering space that it was a real shame. They did a lot of marketing, but at the end, they actually had to cancel their ICO. They only raised $1 million when they were hoping or expecting to do it in the, call it 20s or 30 million range. So it was really disappointing, and so that happens. And it isn't always attributable to marketing. Sometimes the product just isn't what people are looking for. So it's still a somewhat finicky market. The participants and the investors tend to be very out of the cryptography world or out of the cryptocurrency world. And so they may not be as, they may not find as appealing projects that are not directly playing into their strengths.
So, and I just learned through another interview that an ICO doesn't necessarily have to be a blockchain startup, which I, in my naive way, thought you would have to have a blockchain startup to do that. And no, apparently not. So could you tell me a bit about that?
Yeah, well, look, I think that there is, like anything, even the term blockchain, when I started in it, it was a very specific thing. At this point, everything's a blockchain. It's like, it has become a discussion around innovation, rethinking of databases, and you don't even need a token from what I understand. So I'm not surprised. I think that the more successful ICOs, or the bigger ones, are really trying to do something around a protocol. And the term for that is a fat protocol. So I think that that's your marquee type of ICO. What you're seeing and why in a way people feel it's a little scammy is because frequently people are just trying to find other ways of paying for things, and they create this currency out of nothing. What's crazy about that is whether or not you can actually form an economy from doing that. So I'd say that while there's a lot of people who are succeeding with that, it's questionable whether those will be the long-term winners in this game. If they are unable to raise money through more traditional methods, it's probably for a reason. And so I think that the froth of the market is letting all ships rise. Right now, I don't think there's a lot of ICOs that come out that don't do at least a modicum of well before they might drop. So yeah.
And if I was a startup wanting to raise an ICO, what advice would you give me?
Well, I spend a lot of time speaking to startups about this because it really isn't for everyone. I think what people miss is that there is, just like companies don't like to go public necessarily, and the reason is because there's a different caliber of people they have to deal with. All of a sudden, you've opened yourself up to the world, as opposed to maybe 10 or 20 investors who are in the business of dealing with companies like this. So in the ICO world, you're doing the same thing. Now, the challenge is you're trying to build something useful. And so you have a mismatch of expectations between the notion that you're delivering on a token to serve a particular purpose, and separately people who are in it because they want the speculative value of those tokens to go up. And so, wow, it's really two different constituencies, and be careful what you wish for. The constituency that's in there for speculation could be the louder constituency. And the network effects we all talk about, that, oh, by having this currency, they will talk about it and more people will use it, can backfire when things go negative. So all of a sudden, if the token isn't doing well or the company isn't doing well, those same people are the first to throw the rocks. And so you have to be very, very careful. There is a community management aspect to this. It has to be really well honed. So it's not easy money in the way people think. But again, it is just it's becoming a different way of getting your company to the next stage.
It's certainly got a lot more buzz around it than crowdfunding had when crowdfunding first hit the floor running. And I'm just amazed. It seems to also be affecting people's interest in venture capital.
Absolutely, and it's really it's interesting, and we're seeing a lot of the crowdfunding platforms also opening themselves up to enabling token buying off of those platforms. So it's I think I look at this all in a spectrum, and we're just seeing it all being different levels of the spectrum. And we'll see where it goes. I think that there is some things around something called Regulation A+, which are probably the closest I'm seeing to crowdfunding meets tokens. Okay. And it's a way for a company to actually go public with a security token on a blockchain, but with a cap of up to $50 million. So they can't go beyond that. So that's rings of crowdfunding, and it rings of this token world. So very cool. Stay tuned. It's not over yet.
Thanks so much, Pierre. You're always so, I always learn so much from you, and you're also a delightful person to talk to.
Thank you so much, and I always enjoy being here with you people. Thank you so much.